Alright, this is going to be a weekly recap from the 14th of November to the 18th of November, and I'll try to go through this one as quickly and efficiently as possible. I had 8 trades, 4 of them were green, 50% winning percentage rate, as well as the amount of trades I had were according to my dollar risk level, which is currently 100. My average dollar gain was twice as much as my average dollar loss. My average percent gain was about twice as much as my average percent loss as well. A slightly more position size in that the setups that didn't work out. It looks like I seem to have had more of a larger position, which is fine. And then it looks like most of the setups I took that were profitable took more to get in and out of compared to one where I just had to cut losses quickly and get out of it. I made 12 bucks, not with a very decent percent in terms of my dollar volume traded, but let's go ahead and look at the setups one by one. These two right here, I should have had more shares, and this would have made this week pretty profitable. I just had the wrong amount of shares completely with that, and I just had to take that into consideration to always be trying to have the right amount of shares. Let's look at the first trade, which is CRTD on the 14th. Let me exit this. Alright, we already have CRTD. This one's been pretty popular the past 2 weeks. First big red day, and the 14th is going to be this first day right here on the chart. I was in at 10:23 a.m. at 124.5, and that was a day low, higher low. Okay, wait, day low, higher low. Okay, I think I put that wrong. Yeah, I think I put this one twice. Day low, higher low. Okay, let's look at I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, I thought I had this thing spaced twice. Alright. Let's just look at 1023 at 124. Alright, 1023 is gonna be right around here. And I got in at 124. Why did I get in this setup? Well, big red day and all, but some of these might have like a sell-off and then it starts to come back and it uptrends, breaks above this 150 level in this case and continue the uptrend. And I did get in it right around here because of the fact that we had a move and this was the day low at the time. So then when it uptrended a bit and it wasn't able to get above VWAP and then it kind of sold off a bit right here and we were holding the day low. I thought that it was going to hold itself, be a higher low off of here, and then make a move towards VWAP and ideally break it and try to uptrend and reverse the sell-off that it had. And this setup did not work out. I got out 1026 at 123, so 1026 was right here at 123. Let's just take a look at why I got out of it, but I guess I saw something in the price action that I wasn't a fan of. Okay, yeah, I just didn't like the price action. And there was something about a 15-minute chart. I'm going to guess it was something around the lines of, I guess I'm going to try to get to this day right here by zooming in here. I think the idea was is that, yeah, this thing had a drop as low as 97. So I might have been in it right around here, I guess, thinking that it was going to hold. I guess this level right here, this level right here. It's kind of hard to show on this chart because I use E-Trade Pro, but again, it was not just a higher low off of the day low, but also something where that this thing dropped to a very important level, looking at a longer period of time in terms of support resistance levels. It looks like it did fail. It sold off some more, and it maybe offered an inverse head and shoulders here, shoulder, head, shoulder, but that's pretty much it with that one. It didn't work out, and it looks like I did trade that next setup. Same day CRTD. This was now a panic dip buy higher low. Let's look at the next trade. I was in at 1057 at 103. So 1057 was right here. I got in right here at 103. Next trade right here. And why did I get in this? Again, a panic bounce play. Morning, I guess a morning panic. Did I say morning panic? No, I just said a panic dip buy. So essentially this thing sold off very quickly in terms of volatility, lots of volume as well. And it had this little wick right here. I wasn't here when this one happened, but I would have ideally have traded this one and it would have been pretty profitable. And then it came back right here to the $1.10 level. And then when it came back down one more time, this was like a higher low off of this panic thing. So I was in at 103. maybe with the goal of it breaking 104 and then making a move towards VWAP, which you can see it did perfectly. I got out at 1102 and my average was 110.6. So 1102 was right here at 110.6. So I got out roughly around right here was my average. And yeah, I got out of this one because it got to my goal, which is VWAP. That's always my goal. And it could have actually have, made like a little higher low like it did here off of this level and then broken past the VWAP and then, even more towards the upside, but I never did it. Again, it just got to my goal of VWAP and I got out for that reason. Let's look at NWBO on the, does that say the 5th? Yeah, that should be the 15th. There we go. All right, 15th is gonna be right here. Second big green day, nice breakout over this level right here. Pretty good volume. 15th is gonna be back here. It doesn't seem like it really moved that much on the 15th. It was in at 1016 at 94, and this was a reversal long, big bidder. So 1016, 94. We'll zoom in some more. 1016 was right here, and I got in at 94. So right around right here at 1016. Why did I get in this? I got in it because it was a reversal long. I don't know if I was necessarily looking at a trend line. I just maybe saw something in the price action where it was downtrending for a longer period of time right here. Yeah, I guess I did follow this trend line right here from these two candles. It would have drawn this line all the way down to here. And then I got in at 1016 at 94. But I think I wasn't interested in this setup because even though it was breaking past the trend line, as you can see right here, and holding above VWAP, I didn't trade it because there was a big person with a lot of shares at the ask. But when that person was taken out, I did get in it immediately at 94. I got out at 10:18, 2 minutes later at 94.26. So 10:18 was right here when I got out at 94.26. So yeah, it just didn't seem like it really uptrended that much, and I guess I was worried about the resistance level at 95, holding and then pushing it further down, something where it has this downtrending trend line and breaks above it, even though it wiped out a lot of sellers, I guess, or maybe just one big seller, and then it uptrends a bit, and then 95 holds and it downtrends and tries to get under the trend line. I think that's what I was worried about, and it did eventually get as high as 96, but not much range with this setup, and maybe with more experience, I can be able to hold for something like this where it did a little uptrend. It kind of went back to VWAP, but it never broke below it, which was important for this setup right here. And maybe it could have sold better, and then I would have allowed me to have been more profitable. Let's look at a sell at 956 to see what that would have been. I'm worried about the amount of energy I have right now, considering the fact that it's 12 a.m. I don't know how that's going to help with my sleep. Let's look at NWBO on the 16th, which is the next day. Okay, so another uptrending day, but not necessarily the nicest looking uptrending day. A big, ugly red candle, but let's see what it offered. It didn't also break the previous day high, so that's one thing to take into consideration. I traded this on the 16th, I believe. I was in at 934 at 97. And this was a morning spike, previous day high breakout. So let's look at 934, which is going to be way in the beginning, right here actually. And I was in at 97. So why did I get in this setup? I guess the idea was is that the previous day high was 979. It didn't actually break past it. So I'm going to say morning spike approaching, because I never actually got to it. But the idea was is that I got in here at 97, maybe thinking it was going to break 97, which was the first candle right here, the top, and then it was going to be a nice morning spike, and then get to the previous day high, which is a 979, pretty much 98. And then if we were to break that in the morning, it could be something really volatile, super profitable. As you can tell, this setup absolutely failed. I got out at 937, which was 96. 937 was the big spooky red candle right here, and I got out at 96. Essentially, the setup wasn't working. I saw a bad price action and I had to sell. And the limit was kind of wide. I had it at the day low. Thankfully, I was able to get executed at this 96 level right here, the day low. And I did not have to go through any of this because I was very quick, cutting losses quickly. And a bit lucky too, because that was a pretty ugly looking candle. Yeah, this setup did not work at all. And let me just see actually what the lowest point was. It was at, I'm gonna say 90. Let's just see how bad that would have been. So it didn't actually downturn that much. Alright, so yeah, 7% loss right there. That's what happens if you don't cut losses quickly or you're just unlucky. I'm not going to say that this one really didn't work out because I was able to get out of it. If it were to have had maybe a bottom that was lower over 10 or 15%, I would change it to like a big no. That this setup right here really didn't work. So yeah, this one did not work out. Let's look at the next trade. CRTD on the 16th. 16th is going to be right here. Actually, no, the next one right here. So yeah, it is trying to come back. The thing I was thinking about on this red day, and just out of curiosity, yeah, as you can see, it did the thing I was having in mind, but I guess I did have to downtrend a bit before it turned around. But this one's pretty cool. Let's look at the 16th, which is right here. I was in at 1129 at 139. High a day breakout, so 1129 was going to be right here. Right here at 139. Why did I get in this? It did break that previous day high at 137, and I guess I got in a bit later. Maybe there was a lot of sellers at the ask, and then once we were getting towards that 140 level, maybe I got in for that reason. I'm not extremely sure. I guess this one just kind of threw me off. I got out at 1132 at 138, so this was a tiny loss. 1132 was right here at 138. So essentially, I got in right here at 139 and I got out at 138. And let's just draw a trend line because I think I had one when I was trading this. So it lets me draw one. This setup did work out. I just did not trade this one very well, and I think, yeah, this is where I put that I didn't trade it so well. And the idea was is that it was breaking above this previous day high of 137, but I just kind of got scared because it was just uptrending and it didn't offer any of a like price action towards the bottom. It didn't dip, so I was just worried that we were just creeping past the day high. It breaks past it. It just starts uptrending with no significant signs of a dip buy or just a downtrend just to kind of make it more legitimate. And I was worried that I was going to be in for the breakout, then it just sells off and it gets to VWAP or something crazy like that, and I'm in trouble. But it actually did continue the uptrend, and I think this is a type of trade where I just could have maybe held on to the position or maybe sell half and then really hold on to that last piece for something that either shows really bad topping price action or a break under VWAP. And as you can see, it did sell off 145 as low as the 130s eventually, but it just threw me off that it was just uptrending here so gradually without any kind of a move towards the bottom. I mean, I guess this is the closest thing to a bit of a dip while it was still uptrending, but yeah, I could have been actually profitable with this one. And let's just see. Best case scenario 148. Let's just see what a sell at 142 would have been. Yeah, it would have been pretty cool. It didn't really work that much. It didn't just go vertical, but it did uptrend. Let's look at TPTW on the 17th. I did not like this stock for my first trade with this one right here. Third green day, uptrending, volume. Let's take a look at it. And yeah, it looks like volume, but when you really look at it, this thing is pretty dry and sub penny stock. I was in at 935 at 80, and this was morning panic bounce play. So 935, I'm gonna zoom in a bit more, just keep in mind that this thing really did uptrend a bit later. 935, I was in at 80, right here at the very tippy top of this candle, and I was in it right here. And why? Morning panic bounce play. It did sell off in theory from the 93s. It got as low as 75. It looks like I didn't really trade this one actually well, because this thing was on a gap up, and morning panic bounce plays on a stock that has a big gap up from the previous day are normally kind of crappy. So that's something that I'm looking at right now, and I probably should have been more cautious with this one. But in theory, it did play out. I did get out of this trade quickly at the same minute at 78. So I was in it right here at 80, and I got out at 78. And why did that happen? Well, it's just unfortunate it didn't work out for me because there was a very big seller that showed up right after I got in, and I knew I was already playing this one a little risky, not knowing now that this thing wasn't even a proper morning panic bounce play. This was a gap up from the previous day. I was in it while it was still, in theory, I think holding the trend line, the downtrending trend line, but it doesn't seem like it anymore. So maybe I just remembered that wrong. But this one didn't, really work out because when I got in, that big seller showed up at the ask and I got out of it quickly. And what sucks is that when that big seller, just like that other trade I had, was taken out, this time I didn't pull the trigger, and this one eventually uptrended. And then when it had a stupid, ugly candle, as you can see here, with a wide spread, it threw me off. But in theory, I could have been in again at 81, I believe, and it did get as high as 87, but did not like the price action with this one at all. But let's just see, in theory, what a sell at 85 would have been. It was realistic. It did play out, but I hesitated when that big seller showed up and was taken out. I didn't try the trade again. I don't mind this one at all. I trade with it. I just don't like how I didn't get in the setup again once that big thing that was in the way. The reason why I got out of this one was taken out. The big seller was taken out. Let's look at NWBO on the 18th. 18th is gonna be right here. So yeah, a bit spooky. Gap up, ugly red candle. Let's take a look at the 18th. And I was in at 940 at 118, and this was a dip and rip setup. So let's look at 940 and try to stay in the same day. I was in right here at 940, and I believe, what was it, 118? Yeah, 118 at 940. So I was in right here at 118. So why did I get in this? Dip and rip. So again, a little sketchy because they had a gap up, but in theory, it opened up and everything much higher than the previous day, sells off a bit, and then this is a dip price action, and then it's holding this level right here, this 116 level, and 117 is at the top. I got in right at 118 when it looked like it was breaking above this top of 117, officially being a potential dip for the dip and rip setup, and then it's trying to rip towards the upside. And yeah, it made a move above VWAP. I was in here at 118, very good entry. I was out at 943 at 192.5, so 943 was right here, and I got out at 119.5. So I got out just basically because it did uptrend and everything, but it didn't really do anything more. It didn't get to the previous day high or anything. And this is one of those trades that with more experience I could just sell half of my position and then risk this 16 level, this 116 level. And then in theory that would have allowed me to have held on to this trade a bit more. And this one did offer a higher high from here, and this would have been a nice sell. Let's just see what a sell at 122 would have been. So maybe I sold some right here, and then I sold some right here. Let's just say 121 and a half actually. Yeah, it would have been another nice gain. So there's clearly a lot of room for opportunity, and I didn't have the right amount of shares right here. So I guess um 500 shares. Let's see what that would be. Yeah, that would be nice. A nice percent gain, a nice amount of money. And yeah, definitely need to keep trying and consider doing higher low setups, risking that original level. Let's look at the last trade with NWBO. I got in at 10.15 at 113, dip by trendline break. So 10.15 was right here, and I got in at 113. So why did I get in it right here? Just a reversal setup basically. This thing had this downtrending trend line, and I got in it eventually because it looked like it broke past it. So as you can see, it was following this downtrend for the most part right here. This might not be exactly how I had it, but just to prove my point, this is when I actually traded it on eTrade Pro. That's my platform, and this is my trading platform, which is Fidelity. You can see my entries and exits, so there's no trickery right here. Trust me, I would, if I were to fake these trades, I would do a better job because I always see all the things I'm doing wrong, and I think that's a good thing because it would be a bad thing to think that you're doing everything right and then you're just being cocky and then something really wipes you out. But yeah, this thing was downtrend, and as you can see, it broke past the line eventually. And I got in it in theory because it broke past it, and I like it when it does this. It breaks the downtrending trend line, uptrends a bit, and then it downtrends just a little bit. And this one held this level right here. It doesn't always have to do that, but sometimes the stock can break past the downtrending trend line, uptrend like it did here, and then sell off a bit. But then it eventually holds this level, and it's no longer where the trend line is currently at. So that's a crappy looking arrow, but in theory that's what I saw right here. That's why I got in it. I was a bit aggressive. In theory, maybe an entry on 115 would have been safer because it would have proven that we do get above this resistance level of 114. But yeah, that was the setup right there. I did get out 1023, my last piece, and my average was 116.5. So 1023 was right here and 16.5. So I was out right here in theory with my last sell on the 1023 level, but my average being 16.5. I got out of it because it reached my goal, which was VWAP. It didn't uptrend that much more above VWAP. It did do like a dip right here, so in theory like a higher low off of here, but it didn't break above that resistance level slightly above VWAP unless you count this. But in theory it would have really worked out if it were to have broken above this level and then maybe approach the day high. But yeah, this one really worked out. I just needed to have more shares right here, 500 shares, and that would have allowed me to have been profitable. So I guess 500 shares, 500 shares, and then I sell at 121 and a half, and then not even considering the other setups that did work out, like this one, right? Because it did uptrend. I just didn't take the trade again when that big seller was taken out, and then I don't remember this one right here. Um, so I can't really put what a best case scenario would have been with that one right there. But I just had a lot of opportunity to have been actually really profitable, and I mean it sucks and all, but I'll keep trying. And I hope all of you watching this, the two and a half of you, one of them being me, can learn from this. And yeah, I just have to keep getting better. Really good to have gone over this, and I need to watch this Monday before the market opens just so I can have like a good refresher, after the weekend and everything. That's it for this weekly recap right here. A lot of things I need to keep getting better at. And yeah, I look forward to rewatching this.